Howdy hey, my name is Casey and welcome to my home. This is Penelope. She is a 2016 Chevrolet City Express van. I got her in 2022 and built her out in 2023 over the course of about 6 months. After that, I lived in her for about a year and a half, traveling around North America, living on public land, working as a software developer, hiking out in the woods, and I want to show you some of the systems and features that I got going in here. I'm a bit of a minimalist, and that definitely presents itself in the way that I built this out and the way that I interact with it, and I want to show that off to you. First things first, you got to start off with the boring bits, and we're going to start off with the outside of the van. I tried to keep it pretty inconspicuous because I want to be able to park this thing on the side of the road and not have it raise too many alarm bells. I've never had a knock on my door while I'm in public in this thing, so I think it's done a pretty good job. I upgraded the tires to a more reasonable size. They're all-terrains. Up top here, we have 370 watts of solar, 2 160 watt panels, and 1 50 watt panel, as well as my little Max Air dome fan there, and the roof box. And this is all mounted on strut channel, just cut to size, and it is bolted into the roof rack post. So none of this roof business required any drilling into the roof or anything like that. Aside from, cutting a hole for the fan. Over all of the rear windows, I put this vinyl covering. Same thing on this side, so you can see out. It blocks a lot of the sunlight so you don't get any greenhousing. Similar deal with the tint on the front windows. That's the darkest legal tint in my state. 30% tint, I believe, and it's ceramic coated, so that also reflects a lot of heat. I use that roof box as essentially my garage. Everything that doesn't go inside the van goes in that. Got a bag full of tools here, electrical odds and ends, skid plates, God forbid I have to use those. Got a fly rod in here, more tools, fishing net, car jack, heater that'll run on the same butane cans as my stove. I would not want to sleep inside the van with that on. Let's talk about the bed. Now you can see that in its normal position, the bed is a bench seat against the whole wall of the van. It's got a little bit of an L-shaped section over here too. We'll talk about that in a bit. And on its own, it's about the width of a camping mat. I can and have slept on this part of the bed alone. Not the height of luxury. So let's show you a bit of a magic trick. How's that for comfy? It's a full extended twin size bed, essentially in dimensions. I use this down comforter, and it has kept me comfy down to like 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's more than enough for me. When it gets colder than that, I go somewhere else because this thing has wheels on it and I'm not beholden to the weather. Another fun thing that I use here, this is just a little travel size pillow. It's a buckwheat pillow, which provides a ton of support for really small size pillow. I can prop this up on its side and it has plenty of volume. I'm really happy with this combo. I do have a top sheet. I didn't throw it on because it's not quite as photogenic, is it? But it is a lot easier to clean than these cushions. Now another thing that's kind of more of a break glass in case of emergency sort of thing. Underneath my bed here, you can see I have an electric bunk heater that runs on 12 volt DC power, and I have that as if I can't guarantee myself to have a warm place to sleep, if it's getting way below freezing, way below what that down comforter will keep me warm at, I will turn that on. I'll put that underneath my sleep setup and sleep on top of it, and heat rises, so it creates, an electric blanket effect, but a lot more effective. I've only had to use it once, but it's really good to have. I'm going to give you a tour of what is under the bed. First and foremost, we have the refrigerator. It is a 30-liter drawer fridge from Dometic. It's 4th of July weekend right now, so we're loaded up with brewskis. But yeah, it does its job. The thermostat's a bit wigged out, so I do keep a thermometer on hand, make sure it's doing its job. It works most of the time. It sometimes freezes things, which isn't pleasant. But down here, I keep clothes. In the first 2 of these, I've got 6 of these purple bins. I mostly keep all my odds and ends that I want to have quick access to. I've got my first aid kits back there, extra butanes back there, basically everything that I don't want to keep outside the van and I want to keep on hand. Fun fact, you can just buy a length of bungee cord, make your own bungee traps in whatever color you want. So that's what I did here. I did that to hold those in. I did that to hold these in. Under here, I call this my galley. It is mostly kitchen implements, and it's also got the wet bits over there. Right here, I've got mostly kitchen flatware. This is what I use to boil water, AeroPress. Down here, this is where I keep all the stuff from my stove. You can see, there's my stove. And this is pretty much my 1-burner cook kit. This is a toaster. You can fold it up and you can put bread, 4 pieces of bread on every side of that. This is what I call my perfect 1-pot solution, which is a flat bottom carbon steel wok. It's non-stick. It is high enough that I can boil water in it no problem, and carbon steel heats up quick and cools down really quick and also disperses heat really evenly. So it's pretty much perfect for not wasting fuel, unlike cast iron where you have to spend a lot of time heating up the pan. Down here I have a K barbecue grill. I don't use this all that often, but it is good to have the option to grill meat or veggies or stuff like that. Now, over here is pretty much my pantry space. This is generally dry pantry, and I usually keep canned goods down here. I don't have any canned goods on me right now. And at the moment, in between here, I keep my thermos, which I love having a thermos. You boil water once and then you have it all day. Saves on fuel. This is a water filter, or a water purifier rather. It will filter not only bacteria and protozoa, but also viruses, which is important if you're going to like places with bad municipal water. But viruses aren't usually a big concern out in the woods, only in city environments where you're around other people. Now, I have a little blender. I use this mostly for protein shakes when I'm really roughing it. I'm just living on pasta, and I need to get some protein in me. This is what I use for that, and it's really handy for those things. Now, you'll see in the back here, it's forming a part of my bed. This is my composting toilet, and I love it. This is from Trebolo. I had to import it from Germany because there was nothing on the American market, at least at the time, that was anywhere close to a comfy height to use inside this van. It's essentially a diverter toilet. I try to reserve this for number 1 only because it does not hold all of its smells. It does as good of a job as it can, but it's a good emergency solution, I'll tell you that. So here we have a little drawer, mostly a junk drawer, but that's also where I keep my my silverware. I have this little weather station that I use to keep track of the current temperature and pressure. The weather report gets a little confused when you move up the mountains because, as you can see, it's not storming anytime soon. Pressure, temperature, and humidity. I love having access to all 3 of those at a glance. Now you can see that I've got a lot going on here in the space between the door and my little galley here. This is where I keep my trash bag. It's just a shopping bag on these little hangers. I like to go to the states that make them use these big heavy duty plastic because those bags last me so long. I just empty them out and refill them. This is also where I keep my fire extinguisher. I wanted to have that in an easy place to grab both from the inside of the van and the outside of the van, so that's why it's there. Similar deal with my bear spray here. Oh dear God. This I can easily grab. This is also where I keep my trowel for number 2s when I don't want to use my composting toilet, which is always. This is also where I keep my broom, which I use to sweep out my floors. I've also got a little switch for the Wi-Fi here because my cellular modem is way back behind my galley. I can turn it on and off from over here. Now, I mostly use this side of the van as something of a maintenance access. I'll reach in and grab stuff from here, but the main use of it is the ability to access my electrical system, which I've tucked away in the corner here. We've got two 100 amp hour batteries with a 400 watt inverter. Breakers on this side, that's a little temperature gauge for my heating pads. Got heating pads under the batteries that will heat those because they don't like to be charged below freezing. Fuse box for everything DC. And then if I come around the front here, I have these out on front. B2B charger over here and the solar charger right there. And I have those on the front because they generate a lot more heat just behind the driver's side door here. Now, the front of the van is mostly stock. I did have to remove the center console with the cup holders and stuff in order to accommodate the swivel seat, but that wasn't a huge problem for me. I've also got a draw curtain here made of blackout fabric, and that actually works really awesome for making it in combination with the window tint for making sure that nobody can really see what I'm doing in the back there if I'm parked on the side of the street or something like that. This swivels out here and it basically becomes a table or an armrest, or yeah, if I'm going through a drive-through, I'll eat my dinner on that. That's nice. I replaced the head unit with a little Android. Honestly works great. I'm really happy with it because I can just load whatever app onto that I want. On and off switch for my B2B charger. I can access that while I'm driving. Important documents in here as usual. Got this fun thing, a little drawer, and I keep mostly spare stuff and repair tools that I want to have quick on hand in there. Under here, I've got a phased array antenna with a very expensive membership. In the sides here, I've got bug screens that I can use, which in combination with these here, these are rain guards. It's the little things that make all the difference. Now, something that I thought was just incredibly important to have in a space this small was a swiveling captain's chair, at least one. It opens up the space so much to be able to sit in one more spot, and especially in a real chair and not on a bench like I've got going on over there. I made an app and I made a whole video about it because at the time it was, at least on record, it was the only time that this had been done in the North American style of this van. And I tend to use it as an office chair. I've got this little lagoon table here and it sits at rest in between the seats. I tend to use it as an armrest when I'm driving, but in this case, I can just swivel it out and use it as a little typing table. Now, one thing you might be asking yourself is, Casey, where's your kitchen? And that's understandable. Most vans tend to have a built-in propane stove or an induction cooktop. I forewent that in favor of something a bit more modular. On my doors here, I've got these fold-out tables. And this is generally my cook space. I can cook inside. It gets a little stuffy in there. It's a little small. The fan can't really uptake it. But that's fine with me. I'm usually out on public land anyway. I usually cook outside. Right here, I've got my sink. It's made of a lasagna pan, and it's got a little pump arm here. And that disperses a little bit of water every time, and that is more than enough for me in this space. That is a 7-gallon freshwater tank, a 4-gallon gray water tank, and I can also let it out onto the ground if I'm not putting anything harmful into the environment. But anyway, this is a cool little gadget I've got from Snow Peak. And it is a folding stove. You can see it comes out like this, kind of butterflies out with a little burner. I think it's something like 10,000 BTUs, more than enough for me. And you just grab butane canister, pop it in there, and whatever you're cooking, like for example, if I'm heating water, I usually use this thing, works. So I usually cook on the back out here, whether I'm making dinner, cup of coffee. I just use this thing. It's quick to set up, quick to take down, and stores up super duper small. And space in this thing is a premium, so I value that a lot. So that's the van. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you would do differently. Let me know what you do differently if you live in a van. I love to hear about different people's systems for this kind of thing and just love to nerd out about it. For me, for now, I've got another chapter coming and I think it's gonna be a real treat. And I'm definitely gonna film this one for you guys, so if you're interested and you want to stick around, I've got some good stuff coming. Stick around. Subscribe. Have a good one.